Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more Leftovers Season 2. We are on Episode 5. We are halfway through the season. Full spoilers if you've not seen this episode. It is called No Room at the Inn. This is a Matt Jameson episode, and I'll be honest, these are the ones I don't really look forward to watching. Not because they're not good, but because they're just very difficult to watch. Matt's episodes are always very hard to watch because he's a very Job-like character. He is constantly being put through fucking hell. And sometimes that's his own stupidity, in my opinion. He tries to be good. He tries to do the right thing. He tries to be a man of God. And as everybody that, anybody that watches these or knows my channel, knows my difficulty with religious stuff and belief systems and things like that. But that's my thing. So Matt's stories are just always just really, they're trials and tribulations. These are biblical like stories of trials and what people go through to, I don't know. But this is the story of Matt and Mary losing their place in Jarden, Texas, and his desperate attempt to get his wife back and himself. And it's just wow. It's just wow. So, overall impressions, like I always say, like I'm trying to do the reviews, before we get into it. Acting-wise, this is amazing. How she has to do nothing, but that's the hard part, really, right? Is not reacting to things, just being always in a vegetative, waking coma and never breaking. Boy, that's gotta be goddamn hard. And she's like an accomplished actress. She's a very good character actress. So, you get hired to do this job and they say, what are you gonna do? You have to sit in that wheelchair and basically do nothing at all. You can't blink. But, they let you, she can blink, but she can't, react to anything. It's just amazing. And we also get more of John Murphy's whole no miracles in Jarden, Texas thing that's still developing here. So just right off the bat, it's just a fantastic episode as always. Just about. So at the very beginning, we find out Matt records Mary sleeping to see if she wakes up from the one time that he said that they did. And we get the routine. And they play that song, There's a Reason. And it's just over and over and over. And what we find out is this isn't just their daily routine. This is everything that happened on the day that she woke up. Over and over and over on a loop. Thinking that if he recreates the same moments that happened that day, that it'll just happen again. It's kind of similar to how the whole town of Jarden does things over and over and over again to keep from departing. If you noticed, in the very first episode, I believe, we talked about they've got the crack in the street that they don't want to change. They got the girl out in her wedding dress. You got the guy in the tower. All these things are being done as a ritual to keep themselves safe. And how an event like the departure has made this town very unique, but also just as fucked up as everywhere else. They've got their own thing. And I also think, the strength that it would take and patience to do this every day in, day out, take care of somebody, not just because of the departure, this routine that he's trying to get her to wake up, but just in general, trying to take care of somebody in this state. When a lot of people would start to talk about quality of life and euthanasia, that kind of thing. It's just, and would she want this? So, and he almost, he starts to snap at her. in a moment of weakness, like, in frustration. And come on, I mean, it's real. It's a real moment. Look at me. Like, who wouldn't have that breaking point of, like, just nothing's working. And they go to the hospital. He takes her on checkups all the time just to make sure that everything is okay, as okay can be. You get the runners at the camp, and camp, man, that's another big part of this episode, is seeing the actual people at the camp and these desperate souls. To me, they're pathetic. To me, they're pathetic. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. These people just desperately clinging, looking for a miracle, and not even that. I mean, they seem to like be kind of the worst of the worst, the savages. It's like Lord of the Flies down there. So, the toilet phone, the toilet dropped into the phone dropping into the toilet is just funny, because honestly, it's happened a lot. It happens a lot, and I mean, I've done it. I don't, and I feel silly when I see it happening. It feels like, why the hell would you ever be in a position to drop your phone in a toilet? And it speaks to us as a culture. And again, the not being able to put our fucking phones down, even when we're taking a shit or a piss or whatever. It's just ridiculous. We can't just put these things down, even in moments of privacy, like the ultimate privacy, right? One of the the things that we keep from going to the bathroom is a very private event, since inside plumbing was invented. We finally get to hide our shame, and we still drop our phones in the toilet because we can't put them down. And I've talked about that for a long time here. But in this scene, they find out that Mary's pregnant, and it's crazy. I forgot about this part. And they basically are alluding to the fact that they think that he slept with her in a moment of weakness while she's been in this state. They don't come right out and say it, but they say it. And that if she can't consent to a test, then she can't consent to anything else. Wink, wink is what he's saying. And he's also saying that 90% of she has a 90% chance of miscarrying in this state. So they leave. And that's kind of a theme to the whole thing, is every time they bring up the pregnancy, it's like, no, I didn't rape my wife. Because nobody in Jarden would, at least John Murphy's kind of case. We'll get to that. So they go on their way back home, and they give roadside assistance to this guy. And again, it's just like the first, in season 1. The people that were hanging around him at the casino. You just can't trust anybody in this world, it seems. Like anybody that Matt runs into, you can't trust. And he goes to pull over, let's help these people. And it's like, I know this is harsh, but it's like, this isn't, I just don't know anymore. It makes me think of like, when you see people on the side of the road, like the people that actually do stop and help. I wish that I would 100% say that I would. I do. I wish I could say that with 100% certainty. But part of me believes that I would just go keep on driving. And that bothers me, what that says about me. There was a woman at the plasma place the other day who came in because they needed a jump for their car. And I just stood there. Because the car that I drive, I'm not familiar with the workings of the battery. It's in a very strange place. It's in like the trunk. Believe me, it's in the trunk of my car instead of the front. This car is designed bizarre, but my whole life is bizarre. So I just told myself that's why I didn't help. But was it? Was it just because I didn't want to get out of line and lose my spot to help somebody that needed help? Somebody else did. There was a whole line of people that could have helped, and I told myself, you could have helped, and I didn't. And that's just, like, I say people suck, but I'm one of them, right? I mean, it's just, But he tries to help this guy, and it goes bad. He finds out that they've got the wristbands, and he gets cracked upside the head. Again, he also gets hurt a lot. And this guy breaks his fucking hand to get the wristband off, and they take it off of Mary so that they can get in there because we have to get in. You know, just another pathetic asshole, desperate. He imagines Mary telling him that we have to get in there, the baby won't survive. And he has to, like, uh, haul her, like, 5 miles to Jarden, Texas, because the guy not only took their wristbands, broke his hand, cracked him over the head, but then fucked up his car so that they couldn't catch up to him. Ah, Jesus Christ. But they managed to get to the visitor center. They managed to talk their way in past the gates, like most people can't. I mean, and again, all the people that like bums hustling you on your way to the gate. You got that junkie that he meets later, Elmer, who's like, "Hey man, you got the money? You know, I could get you in." It's just, it's all just really skeevy and desperate and pathetic. They get inside and you know the paperwork's not going right and Matt's growing frustration. This guy yelling at him, "Get out of the way, man, I'm getting married here." Like, you know, like probably thinking that if he gets married here it'll be like some sort of, you know, sign, or they won't depart if they go there, you know. It's, and he assaults the guy, and honestly I kind of wanted him to. The people that are just like, "Hey man, you know," and he like tries to rip up his paperwork. But finally, John and Kevin arrive, and you think, "Hooray! They've come to save him." But John pushes. They find out that when he finds out that Mary's pregnant, and John basically calls it. You woke up. She woke up, huh? She woke up, and you made love, and then this, you know, then she went right back to this, and so you think that if she stays here, she's gonna wake back up. And he's like, "That doesn't happen here." And what you need to say and tell everyone is that in a moment of weakness, you slept with your wife while she's in this state, and you're very, very sorry. And that's why she's pregnant. And Matt, you think for once that he's going to play the game. For once, he's going to, like, back down a little bit to get what he needs to get done. But instead, he turns it around. I mean, he agrees, right? He first agrees, but then he pushes back. He couldn't fucking help himself. And he goes, "What happened to you? What happened to you, John? Why are you like this?" And that's enough for John to say, "Oh, no wristbands for you guys. See ya." And even Kevin's like, "Come on, John." But he doesn't push it. Because I think Kevin's afraid of John. And Kevin shouldn't, you know, like Kevin's an alpha male too, you know, and he's got his temper. But I think he's afraid of losing his spot too. He sees John's power in this town. An ex-con, by the way, which is funny. Um, so this is where they get to the camp, and we see it's just Lord of the Flies down here. The people are just it's like Burning Man and Woodstock meets Lord of the Flies. Just they're turning savage on each other. You got the guy that's up in the like the old medieval prison, you know, like criminal stockades. It says repent. He's totally naked. They don't know why. You don't even know why he's up there, but they say, "Hey, take his place." You know, why don't you take his place? They don't say why he's even up there. But he goes to the junkie that he was asking, "Hey, I can get you in if you need to get in." And it's like, never trust a junkie. Even Matt should know this, but he's that desperate. He's as desperate as these people outside the camp. As soon as you get your spot taken away in Jarden, the desperation of this man to get his wife back in shows. And it's $1,000 to get in. And like I said, this desperation, watching this kind of play out, is really uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to watch. This isn't like entertainment. This is like watching The Handmaid's Tale, where you're like, holy fuck. Like what people will put themselves through. The thing is that's what makes it realistic. Is because people in desperate situations will do anything. So he gets $500 from Brett Butler, who, good God, y'all, like, Poor Brett Butler. Remember when she had a sitcom on ABC called Grace Under Fire? She's she's she looks like she's had a hard life in real life. And she says that you can have $500 after like kind of a Bible trivia game, and says she comes up with an or and this huge guy named Reggie, and she says if you hit Reggie as hard as you can and say Brian, I'll give you $500. Now I don't know what kind of fucking psychodrama is going on here, but they say because you're a man of the cloth, it counts. So this guy's like repenting for something, and he wants like some sort of attrition put on him, and it's all weird. It's just bizarre, and he finally does it. And that's all I can really say about it. The whole crowd behind him is all like, do it, do it. I mean, it's just... So, they go in through the sewers. That's the junkies' way in. For $1,000 and a bolt cutter, they go into the sewer. But it's raining and storming out, and the water is so harsh that it ends up pushing them out. The wheelchair goes away. They don't even know where it is, and he's just sitting there drenched in the rain. They can't find any place to sit at. That's why it's called No Room at the Inn. It's a very Jesus and Mary kind of situation, or Joseph and Mary, sorry, situation. Nobody will let them sit there until finally Nora shows up, because of course Nora shows up, because Nora's a fucking badass. Can't even know how to perspective. And so she called in an anonymous tip to the Jarden police saying that the missing girls are somewhere in the camp, because, again, Nora's a badass and she's smarter than everybody and knows how to get what she wants when she needs it. And so the cops are all distracted so that they can get, Mary and Matt snuck in through their trunk. But along the way back, they find a flipped over red car. This guy's red car. And inside the red car, it's also kind of very biblical, like goats. Goats cause an accident. Like goats are to me, are very biblical in this situation. I don't know what it's trying to say. Maybe I'm reaching. But the goats cause an accident that flip the car over, and the guy inside is dead. And he rips the wristband off of his wrist, and he sees the kid hiding in the bushes, and he's trembling, and he's like, give me that back, that's mine. And he takes it from the kid, because fuck that kid. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sure that there is a reason. Maybe the kid's sick, and the dad, in a moment of desperation, wanted to get his kid in there, thinking it would heal him if he drinks the water and that kind of thing. So I understand what the guy did, but at the same time, it's like everybody's just scratching to get into this miracle place. So Matt gets him into the car, puts the wristband back on Nora, and says, I'm not going with. And Nora, legitimately so, is like, what the fuck are you doing? But he takes the kid and starts walking down the road, where he happens to run into John Murphy on the road. This is a bit of convenience, but whatever. And John gets out, and Matt stands up to John in his own way. He stands up to John and says, this kid's, dad is dead, he needs help. I'm not coming in. I don't want your wristband. Because my wife woke up. And for 3 hours everything was normal, and we had sex, and now she's pregnant, and I'm not going to tell anybody else any different, because that's what happened. And I'm going to leave, and when she wakes up, you and me are going to have a talk. And I loved it. He just stares him down like this man who doesn't believe in anything, who's been damaged and all that other shit that I don't really give a shit about with John Murphy. Fuck him. I've said this before, man. I don't like John Murphy. You don't have to believe in miracles, but you don't have to behave like this. He's an asshole. And I know that he's got his reasons, but I don't care. I just don't. And so, for some reason, Matt feels the need to go all the way back to the camp and take the repentant man's place. They ask him why he's doing it, and he says, because it's my turn. And maybe he feels that whatever he did to get in there, and now that man died and all this stuff, that he deserves to be up there, but he doesn't. He's self-flagellating. But that's Matt. And so Christopher Eccleston goes full Monty here and ends up up there. And that's where we leave it. It's a really great episode. It's very dramatic and very well acted, and it's fantastic. But it's also uncomfortable watching desperate people do desperate things. But that's what makes it real, and it should be uncomfortable. It's not supposed to be easy. And that's another reason why this is one of the greatest shows on television, is it doesn't flinch, and it makes you have to sit in this uncomfortable feeling the whole time. You want the episode to be over. but in a way that when you're over, you can breathe and you can think about it, and you can think about things like I talk about here in this video, things that I didn't even know I was going to talk about until I was talking about them. And that's, if you could start a conversation, that's a great show. And so we'll be back next week with episode 6. I can't wait till we get to episode 8. Oh man, episode 8. I can't wait to get to episode 8, y'all. So, anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe. If you're not a subscriber, hit the bell for all notifications. You can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun. If you feel so inclined to help out the channel, because we're trying to get lights, good studio lighting for the channel, and eventually I'm working on trying to figure out how to do a green screen. But that's, down the road. So you can go to my PayPal at paypal.me/smirkingunreviews. Otherwise, this is Rob saying have a great day, and we will see you on the next Leftovers. Bye.